All right, welcome back to Unleashed, the most legit Celtics podcast in the game. We're sticking with the Celtics player grading series that we got going on. Awesome response so far on the first two episodes. If you missed episode 1, we broke down Brad Wanamaker, Grant Williams, and Semi Ojeleye. Episode 2, Carson Edwards, Romeo Langford, and Robert Williams. So if you want to check those out, go check them out. They're on YouTube, they're on Apple, they're on Spotify. Anywhere you want to get your podcast, we are there. And like I said, on YouTube. So we got the video versions coming out now too. Today we are breaking down Enes Kanter, Vincent Poirier, and Daniel Theis. So stick around to the end of the episode because the Daniel Theis segment is probably going to be my favorite of this entire series that we're doing. And we're finally getting to some names that you guys care about. Obviously, you got to get through some of those lower level guys to be able to build up and get to some of the meat here. And Daniel Theis definitely starts that current. So stick around to the end of the episode to get to Daniel Theis. He's the sleeper of this entire series. But let's jump right into Enes Kanter. Again, like I do every episode, let's preface this. This is based on really heavily weighting expectations. That is where we are looking at, what are we grading them based on? It's not necessarily numbers. It's more based on expectations and have they risen to the challenge? Have they kind of, faded away into the dark? So on and so forth. So Enes Kanter, it's going to be tough for him because expectation-wise, he was supposed to be the starter of this team. When they signed him in the offseason, did you not think that, Kanter was the new center? I had episodes talking about the rotation breakdown. I had guests on here talking about what is he going to contribute, X, Y, and Z. As we take this break and this pause in the NBA due to coronavirus, Enes Kanter has not been the starter for this team whatsoever. He's started in only 6 games of the 51 that he's played in. Now, he's been injured for a few, and like we said last episode, I'm not necessarily letting guys get by, without feeling the wrath if they've been injured. No, that hurts your grade. But he's been injured, but out of 51 games he's played in, he's only started 6. So Enes Kanter is not the starter that we were looking for. So that is definitely going to hurt him. Based on the kind of the poll I put out to you guys on Twitter, follow me along. You can vote for these polls at FGuyBoston. You guys were giving him a C. Now, I kind of want to go towards you guys on that, but C is a little bit too low for me. I think Kanter has had so many games this year where he absolutely dominated, and I think he gets, knocked on a little too hard when he doesn't play well or he's irrelevant, and then people seem to just sweep the good games under the rug. I don't think that's fair to him. So that C to C minus range that you guys were throwing at him, I think that's far too low. I'm giving Enes Kanter a B minus, Unleashed official grade. B minus based on the fact that I thought he was supposed to be the starter. And we'll talk about Daniel Theis in terms of, I don't necessarily think it was Enes Kanter losing that starting job, more or less Daniel Theis getting it and running with it. But Kanter was supposed to be the starter, and he's not the starter. He's averaging 8 points and 8 rebounds a game. He's only playing 17 minutes a game. That's really good in terms of what you're looking at and what you're getting from him. He's coming off the bench. In some games, he's not playing that much. Other games, he's playing a bunch. And right away, okay, he's either going to be a beast or he's going to stink and be irrelevant. If there's one thing I can give Enes Kanter in terms of credit, it's if he's going to be a huge factor in a game or not immediately. You can tell if he's going to overpower the other bigs or if, it's just not his night. I'm going to give him credit for that. But I don't see how you can sit there and say that he hasn't done anything for this team. A C minus from you guys is telling me that he's not doing nothing. You know what I mean? That's what Carson Edwards. I gave Carson Edwards, I gave Romeo Langford, Robert Williams. I'm not going to spoil it, but they were all in that sort of C minus range. You think that Kanter is in the same range as those 3? No, Kanter has done way more for this team. He's getting limited minutes. Again, 17 minutes, averaging 8 and 8. If he was playing starting minutes, if you throw another, 8 minutes on there, that's a double-double guy. And we've seen him do that plenty of times. Kanter, the only reason I'm giving him a B minus is because of that huge sway of you were supposed to be the starter and you didn't. I don't care what happened. I know you got injured, but Daniel Theis got the job and it's his to lose and he hasn't lost it. So it's not necessarily a knock on Kanter that he doesn't have the starting role, but it is the reason he's kind of, fading back in terms of this rating and this grading, because if he was really going to be in that B plus to A range, it would have meant that they signed him this past offseason. He got that starting role, and he never looked back. Throw in some injuries, throw in the fact that he's no longer a starter, throw in the fact that some nights he doesn't even play that much. I gotta bump him down a few pegs. And I think a B- is completely fair for him. I think you guys out there, based on the averages that I took, C- seems like it's just a little too low. I think that that's like, again, the Kanter sort of hate. Oh, he can't play defense. Kanter hasn't really played that bad of defense this year. Like, he hasn't been terrible. And you know what you're going to get from him. A guy that can score down low. I know he misses bunnies. I've seen that. But more often than not, he's getting his own rebound and scoring. So, if anything, he's just padding the stats. But you're getting a beast of a guy down there that can impact the game immediately when he gets in. So, official score for Enes Kanter of the Unleashed podcast here, B-. And it would be higher if he was playing a lot more, if he had a more solidified role, if he was starting. Because, I'm more on the Kanter train than I think a lot of people. I don't think he's been playing poorly. I think that what he does, they have not had in a long time. A guy that if he's playing the correct allotment of minutes, he's getting double digits rebounds. They haven't had that in forever. So, Kanter, B-, and it would be better if he was just simply playing more. And, but, we got to be unbiased here. Just because I like him, just because I want him to be closer to that B+, I can't do it. Got to stay unbiased. He let me down in terms of who I thought was going to be the starting five this year. And got to knock him down a few pegs for that. So let's move on to Vincent Poirier. Whew. You guys gave him Fs and incompletes. Now, this going into the season, and I've stuck with him. It's part of the intro. Or at least it was when we were doing the consistent intro a few episodes ago. Vincent Poirier, Vinny P. I'm self-appointed the leader of the Vinny P fan club. But I gotta be unbiased. I just preached it. Vincent Poirier, you guys were giving him Fs and incompletes. I'm not gonna give him an F because I think that that's someone that has failed you. And based on expectations and whatnot, I don't think that he has failed the team. But this is a big moment in the podcast history. I'm grading Vincent Poirier a D. It stinks to do. I wanted him to be good. I wanted him to be one of the key big men on this roster, and that's kind of why his rating's so low. They signed him. Everyone looked at his highlights. He led his former league in multiple stat categories. He comes here, and he's a non-factor. I was even saying he might be their starting center, but Vincent Poirier had everyone's hopes up in this offseason. He was the guy that it's like, we don't know anything about him. Maybe he's good. Maybe they found a diamond in the rough. No, I think they just found another piece of rough in the rough. Vincent Poirier, unfortunately, I'm giving him a D, and I hate to do it, but I am. He hasn't done anything to really help this team. He's a non-factor. This guy literally comes in, and I don't think does anything. And it drives me crazy because I want this guy to be good so badly because, again, he's the biggest guy on the team. You look at him, he looks like a beast. He's got the tattoos, he's got the beard, he's got the build, and non-factor, nada. So Vincent Poirier now has the lowest grade since we've been doing these. And with the names to follow, Daniel Theis, and then in future episodes, Marcus Smart, Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum, it's going to be pretty tough for anyone to get a lower grade than Vincent Poirier. So, spoiler alert, Vincent Poirier has the lowest grade on the team, sadly. D for Vincent Poirier. He just has not done anything. Now, let's move on to who I really do want to talk about. Daniel Theis. Daniel Theis is the unsung hero of this entire season. You remember before the season started? Oh, we need a big man. Oh, we have no center. What are we going to do at the center position? We have no center. Daniel Theis literally zipped all of those lips. All of a sudden, no one's caring about a big man. That void all of a sudden was gone. The void was filled, and it was filled with Daniel Theis. Daniel Theis was unbelievable from the minute he got the chance to start to now, to when this season now on pause. Like Daniel Theis averaging 9 points, 7 rebounds in 23 minutes a game. He's just doing his job. He's only 6'8", I believe, and this guy is playing against true centers, holding them back when he's covering them. Like, it's crazy. Daniel Theis is, a boy compared to some of these men that he's covering in terms of stature, but he's doing it. He's grinding. He's hustling. He's not letting them beat him. He's playing phenomenally. Daniel Theis, I put it out there, and you guys were giving him an average of an A-. Guess what? Daniel Theis has had an A season. 1,000,000%. Based on expectations, based on impact to the team, the two things that we're looking at here, Daniel Theis has exceeded expectations, and he has impacted this team so damn much. An A for Daniel Theis, the first A that we've given, probably one of the few A's that we will give, but it's well-deserved to Daniel Theis, the unsung hero. He is one of the most important players in this team, and no one is ever going to admit it for some reason. Now, I'm not saying people go around shitting on Daniel Theis, no. But when you talk about who's important on this team, you go through a lot of names before you get to Daniel Theis, and rightfully so. A lot of guys on this team are important, but at least when you put your list together, I don't want you leaving Daniel Theis off. He has been incredible this season. Remember how I mentioned how Enes Kanter was supposed to start? Well, the only reason he's not starting is because they have a better option. They signed Kanter, probably with the idea of he's going to be a center that plays a lot for us. He's probably going to be the starter. Daniel Theis steps right up and never looks back. That's not necessarily a knock on Kanter. If Daniel Theis stunk, what do you think they'd be doing? Playing Vincent Poirier? No, they'd be playing Kanter at the starting position. It's not a knock on Kanter. It's just props to Daniel Theis for taking that position and running with it and being an absolute stud. He stretched the floor. He knows how to space. He's catching lobs. He's doing everything he needs to do, and we can't really ask more. Like, if you think you can ask more from Daniel Theis right now, you're in banana land. Daniel Theis has done everything we had asked without even knowing we were asking him. Again, flashback. Prior to the season, we have no center. We need to go get a big man. All of that talk just went gone because Daniel Theis was there to fill that void, and he has filled it. And he's having a career year again, 9 points and 7 rebounds, 24 minutes of play. He has stepped right up, and he's a guy that we forgot about this offseason. Talk about Vincent Poirier. I probably have episodes on this show. In fact, I know I have episodes on this show saying Vincent Poirier is just going to take all Daniel Theis' minutes and do it better. Wrong. Vincent Poirier, a 7-footer. Daniel Theis, 6'8", doing way more at the center position. So Daniel Theis, an A. And I wish I can give him an A+. An A is just fine here, I would say. So Daniel Theis, official grade is an A, and I think that's totally fair. Like, I think the fact that Daniel Theis has taken what was expected of him, which was literally close to none. Like, people forgot he was on this team. And become the starter of this team, and never mind become the starter, become an incredible defensive player, a good offensive player, and just doing all the little things, doing everything he needs to do. He's got a perfect report card. You know, he's exceeded expectations at every single turn, and he wasn't slowing down. He wasn't slowing down at all. He's played in 58 games, and he started 57 of them. So, shout out to Daniel Theis. You know, obviously they saw something in training camp in the offseason because that's when, Kanter to the bench rumors started to swirl, and it happened. Daniel Theis got the starting job, and he has the starting job. He is the Celtic starter. He is a damn good player. He's got those Celtic characteristics that we like, and yeah, he's well-deserving of this A. So I'm proud to announce the first A given out in these grading series is Daniel Theis. I've been talking about him. I've been hyping him up on the streams and the podcasts all year long because this guy has taken that cry for help at the big man position and just said, what void? No, we're good at the big man position, and we are. Shout out to him. He's got the A. I hope you guys are liking this series. We got a big one coming up next, so be sure to check that out. It'll be dropping in a few days. Again, please, if you are watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, like the video, share it around. And if you are on Apple Podcast or Spotify or Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening to your podcast, please leave us a rating, follow, subscribe. It helps us out. It helps us out a lot, actually. We're building an awesome community here. The Unleashed Army is growing by the day. So please, if you have it in you, hit that subscribe button, rate the podcast, leave a review. And until next time.